I haven't got my readers on that.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
I've only got the 12 and 3.
Good afternoon and welcome to Darling Street Oval for this highly anticipated round 3 match of the round in Northern New South Wales NPL between Newcastle Olympic and Charlestown Azzurri. Chris McPherson bringing you all of the action this afternoon from Darling Street Oval. Azzurri, the only side with a perfect record after 2 rounds, with back-to-back wins over Western and New Lambton, scoring 6 goals and conceding just 1. Their coach, James Pascoe, has built a well-drilled side in 2025 with attacking firepower, highlighted by the pace of Regan Lundy, who netted a double last week. Pascoe, however, has acknowledged this will be one of their toughest tests so far, calling Darling Street one of the hardest venues in the league for visiting teams. Olympic, meanwhile, come into the match undefeated as well, having battled their way to a last-gasp draw against Western last weekend after a convincing first-up win over Cooks Hill. Their coach, Paul Davidis, expects a fast, high-intensity contest today and sees this as an opportunity for Olympic to prove they belong amongst the competition's elite. Of course, there's some added spice in this one. Charlestown eliminated Olympic last year in the final series, but Davidis insists that is in the past. His and the club's focus is on making a statement in 2025. Olympic is still without star striker Roy O'Donovan after he missed last week with back spasms, while Zach Thomas was unable to pass fit today and will also miss the game. On the other side, Charlestown remain without Jared Sutherland due to a hamstring injury, but welcome back Reese Pappas, who missed last round. Both of these sides are tipped to be in the finals mix this season with top spot on the line. This has all the ingredients for a thrilling encounter. Alongside me in commentary today is former Everton and Sunderland striker, now Northern New South Wales Football Talent Development Officer Brett Angel. Brett, how do you see this one unfolding?
Yeah, it should be quite interesting. Obviously, both teams unbeaten from the first 2 games of the season, and so I think it'll be a hard-fought game, and probably the quality coming through will make the difference from either side.
It'll certainly be an interesting clash. One thing's for sure, a cracking contest ahead with Newcastle Olympic hosting the informed Charlestown Azzurri. The other thing, it's going to be warm out there for these two sides. Temperature expected to sit around 30 for the majority of the game, which is not typical football weather, certainly from where you're from, but even in this part of the world.
No, it is going to, I don't know whether drink breaks will be had, but certainly it will be difficult. I wouldn't have thought that the high-intensity 90-minute game can be played in such conditions, so it will be who performs best in the conditions and with and without the ball.
Might be a little bit of a war of attrition over the 90 minutes as we see fitness taking over and fatigue playing its part. We see the referees out there now with the 2 captains, Taylor Regan for Charlestown Azzurri and Marcus Duncan for Newcastle Olympic. I'll go through their instructions. An interesting little side note today, Brett, is the Pappas name. We see Jim Pappas Field here at Olympic. It's a name that's synonymous with Olympic. But we see a Pappas on the other side today. His grandson Reese, he made the move last year away from the club, went to Lambton. He's now found his way to Charlestown. That's going to be an interesting one to see how he takes on coming back home, if you will, wearing different colours.
Yeah, certainly will be. I think he'll obviously have some nervous energy to get rid of. I don't know whether this is the first time that he's come back or whether he played last time when he played for New Lambton, but certainly I think he'll be a little bit nervous to start, but certainly wanting to prove a point as well.
It certainly will. It's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure, as these two sides shape up for a key clash. It is only round 3, but this one has a lot on the line. As we said, both teams looking to maintain an undefeated record, and 3 points could guarantee either side top spot on the ladder should they win here today. Olympic wanting to get another win in front of their home crowd, while Azzurri will want to maintain their perfect start to the season. Let's take a look through the 2 lineups. We'll start with Charlestown Azzurri. In goals is Ben McNamara. 4 is Reese Pappas. 5, Cameron Joyce. 6, their captain, Taylor Regan. 7, Harry Frendo. 8, Jackson Frendo. 11, in the centre of midfield will be Tyrone Cousins. 14, Barney Irvine Rumble. 17, Matt Hoole. 18, Reese McManus. And 23 is Regan Lundy. While for Olympic, it will be in goals. Number 1, Adam Pearce. Number 3 is Jai Rodway. 4, the recently welcoming of a new addition to his family, Luke Rutledge, with a new baby, Lenny, coming into the family last week. 5 their captain, Marcus Duncan. 7, Cal Bradbury. 8, Ben Hay. 11, Lockie West. 12, Stephen Theakos. 13, Nathan Toby. 17, Jared Muller. And 23, Adam Zervis. And we're underway here. Theakos playing it back all the way to Pearce. And he sends it into the crowd. A little bit of nervous energy in the crowd, early up, keeping everyone on their toes here at Darling Street, Brett.
Certainly was. It was a hell of a kick from Ben Pearce, and yeah, like I said, they were ducking for cover.
I think he might have been looking for his strike and not realising that Roy O'Donovan wasn't playing, and he's sitting in row 1 of the grandstand. He's nearly taken out one of Roy's kids by the look of it. That's not a good way to keep the new signing on side. Azzurri looking up front, and we've been told that Regan Lundy is in 23, but he's out there in jersey 9, so they've given us a bum steer with the team lineups today. I thought it was odd that he'd changed jersey numbers from round 2. That's okay. We work on the fly. Well, attempted nod on there from Nathan Toby. Couldn't quite get to it. Well, back now. Azzurri fighting. Hall. And the club this year, Azzurri. And down from Maitland FC, the Magpies. And for a new scenery at Lyle Carr Oval. As McManus can't quite reel that one in. Gets a toe to it, and it goes over for a throw-in the way of Olympic. Both sides looking to go long early. Brett happy to clear it over the top and see if they can back some pace.
Yeah, I think the game's sort of starting to settle down. I think Tyler Cousins has shown some good little signs of linking their build-up play. But at the moment, it really not too much has happened other than sort of the goalkeeper hitting Rosed with the kick out.
And Olympic now with a throw. As I said, a little disappointing if you're an Olympic fan that 2 of their, I guess, marquee or bigger name signings not in action today. Different injuries in Zach Thomas at the back and Roy O'Donovan at the front. McManus takes this on, drops it back now for Hull. Here's the man we were talking about earlier in Pappas. Goes long, looking for McManus. Gets a header forward, no one really pushing through to go with it, and it'll trickle across the byline for a goal kick.
Certainly feeling each other out, I think, at the moment. There's not, there's not a great deal happened in the game in this first few minutes, but obviously the game will start to open up a little bit more, and it'll be interesting to see who starts to get on top. But certainly at the moment, neither team has really looked that threatening.
They certainly haven't, as a sideways clearance attempt from Theakos. That one just spits through the defence and comes racing out of his box, does Adam Pearce. Sends it back. Taylor Regan gets aerial to get ahead to that. Now it goes with the long clearance. It clears Lundy. Turned over for Olympic. Rutledge. Looking for options. Little tap on. Nice side ball there for Theakos, but they can't maintain possession, and Pappas passes across to his centre-back partner in the experienced Regan. Work down the left edge. No space opening up. Olympic pressing, creating a turnover. Muller. Regan picks off the pass. Muller still trying to argue with the referee, but didn't get the call his way. Now, Charlestown look to free something out. Lundy slicing inside. Lays the ball off. Both teammates look at it. Ends up coming across fortuitously rather than well managed. McManus now, can he cross into the box? Yes, he can, and it stopped at the near post and pushed across. And it'll be a corner for Azzurri. some good build-up play there, Brett, but a little bit of confusion with some of the passing.
There was, but when it got wide to McManus was very direct, drove the ball across the face of the 6-yard box, but well defended by Olympic there to put it out for a corner. And it'll be interesting now to see whether the quality of delivery and the big centre-backs, I think certainly Taylor Regan will be one that they'll be looking for from this sort of situation.
Hall with the corner, drives it in to the back post, it holds up, headed, but I've seen some contact as the referee and calls back for a foul. And they get along with the clearance, well dealt with in the end by Joyce. Joyce, one of a number of players out who's played underage Australian football. All of a sudden, Zervas, the Olympic junior, goes on the attack. I'm very excited to welcome him back this year after some time at Sydney United. Newcastle Olympic faithful, and there he is on the ball again. It's manhandled a little bit by Cousins, and the referee says that'll be a free.
Yeah, there was a big discrepancy in size with that one as well. Cousins just realistically leaving his foot there before on Zervis, and quite rightly referee giving a free kick.
Duncan now over the dead ball, lofts it forward in between players. Pappas breaks it up. Good effort around the outside from McManus. He's looked lively since he's got a first opportunity today. Now that comes back, and we've got Marcus Duncan, the captain, on the ball, off for Rutledge. Thiakos now. Zervis again, the pocket rocket just bouncing about in midfield. They go wide on the right. It's brought down. Lundy tries to get the ball. Azzurri appeal for a handball. Referee says play on. Regan in. Got the ball first and cleaned up the opponent after. Now it's lofted forward. Looking for Bradbury. Bradbury, one of the big name signings coming to Olympic in the off-season as well. Coming across from the Jaffas, where he was their leading scorer last season. $15 goals for the Jaffas in 2024. That comes into midfield, and Jackson Friendo challenging for it before it drops back, and Pappas, and a lofted attempt from Hay, well clear of the crossbar.
Yeah, nice little volley on the sort of 20-25 yards out, but never really was going to trouble, just always looking too high, and very easy realistically. McNamara in the goal never really moved in any, and neither did he too, because it was always high and wide.
We're talking about it pre-game before we came on air, Brett, and having the experience of someone like Ben McNamara between the sticks. I mean, he's 36, but spent a decade playing lower league football over in the UK. That certainly can't be a bad thing to have at this level of football. No, again, and he'll manage the game well for them as well. He'll have the experience to know what to do and when to do it, and as well as his goalkeeping skills. See now Cousins park himself over the ball, drops it back. Now they come wide. Hull, and is trying to work into space, but instead they go infield. Nice little bit of movement with two defenders on him from Harry Friendo. Now he frees up McManus to the outside, but Thiakos just pushes it across the sideline. No, it goes across the byline, and we'll have a corner.
Yeah, again, that's a little bit of an interesting duel, that one, Thiakos and McManus. At the moment, I would say it's a little bit on as even, and but again, another good opportunity for Azzurri to put the ball in from a direct corner and see what comes of it.
Again, Hull, the man over the dead ball. Azzurri numbers at the back. Regan, one of those. He's the most active inside of the box. He's bouncing around looking for options. They float it up to the back post. It clears everyone in the end. And it will be Duncan who clears it, and it'll race away over halfway. His opposite number in, Joyce, will retreat back to pick it up and take it back towards halfway, will he? No, he pulls up and gives it back to McNamara.
It looks quite, both corners have been hit up high for Cousins to come on to. He achieved something with the first one, didn't quite get there, but that looks as though it's the plan of action to hit them deep far post for Cousins for a possible knockback.
Azzurri trying to work it through midfield, turned over for the time being. Zervis lays it wide. Trying to play it back for him, but Joyce picks it off. Now The ball pushed back. McNamara's happy just to lay it off for Regan for the time being. Trying to open up something as they work it forward. Now it comes to Hull. Again, he goes infield. Ball tap wide for McManus by Cousins. And Olympic do well enough to earn the throw. Ball brought to ground. In contest. Toby wins out for now. Gives it to the electric Service, who races forward with advantage. Ball comes off a defender and sits up nicely for McNamara, who's happy to take his time.
Service coming a little bit more into the game now. Seen a little bit more of him. He is, as you said, a little bit of a pocket rocket. There's not a lot to him height-wise, but he seems to have some decent dynamics.
You certainly see why the Olympic faithful were happy to bring him back to the club. He spent a lot of time with the Jets youth system before some time at Sydney United, but I'm told played his juniors from under 5s through to 8s and 9s-ish here, so they certainly claiming him as a local junior and be happy to have him home.
Well, I suppose in many ways that's perfect for a club like Olympic, that he's branched out, gone to the Jets and tried at Sydney.
Long-range shot, well over the crossbar. That could be best described as optimistic from Regan Lundy.
I think it classes as a shot. It certainly was never on target, but it does class as a shot. But yeah, so as I said, at the moment they're still trying to find each other out a little bit. Service is getting a little bit of success now down the middle, and like I said, this duel between McManus and Fikos is quite interesting.
Header one there by Irvine Rumble. Another one of the new signings on paddock this year, came from Central Coast United in the NPL 2. Ball pushed forward by Duncan. Regan gets out, gets the boot to it. Comes down for Frendo. That's Jackson Frendo. Of course, there's Jackson and Harry out there, the 7 and 8. Or the 8 and 7, as I should say. They sit it wide. Lundy and McManus on either wing, sitting very wide for Azzurri, trying to spread the Olympic defence. Pappas, he's got time, lofts it forward, looking for McManus. And then Theakos comes through with a little boot to it, pushes it across the sideline. Azzurri, they'll set up for the long throw into the box here. No one presenting up front. Cousins is there. Irvine Rumble coming in at the back. Going looking for Irvine Rumble. Doesn't quite come to boot for them, and Hay clears it for now towards halfway where Regan will pick it up. Puts it straight down the line. Lundy makes a run. Uses his pace, gets inside the 18-yard box. Couldn't quite get the shot away where he wanted. A follow-up though, and that's a collision. Is that inside the box or is that outside the box? Just outside the box for Charlestown Azzurri. They tried to appeal and say it was inside the box, but I think the referees absolutely nailed that one. Yeah, great position from the referee on that occasion, and yeah, it must have just have been a stud length outside the box. It was very close, but he was in a perfect position to make the call. I think the Azzurri player tried to sell the fact that he landed inside the box, but the contact, as you say, it certainly looked from our position, and the referee was right on the spot. You're just outside the box, and that's where the free kick will be taken from. Dangerous position here. And interestingly enough, it looks like it'll be the former Olympic player in Reese Pappas who will be the one to take it. Adam Pearce very animated in setting his wall. Could it be Pappas against his former club to open the scoring? He takes a shot, but he pushes it to the left. Never on target. It was watchful from Pearce.
He got the right weight, should we say. He's managed to get up and over, but obviously accuracy was never really... Adam has never really looked as though he was in trouble or thinking that it was going towards the goal in how he reacted to the initial free kick.
It's interesting, we touched on it before. Roy O'Donovan is obviously here in attendance supporting his team, but you can see how he's standing and moving about. The back still clearly giving him some trouble. Hopefully for not too much longer, we'll hopefully see him back in action for Newcastle Olympic in the coming weeks. As the ball goes over the sideline, and that'll be an Olympic throw. Theakos will take it, doesn't go back to Rutledge, changes his mind and decides to go long. Nodded on. McManus now thinks about going after it, but decides better of it. And Diakos again goes for not the prettiest of throws. That one will go the way of Azzurri. It's been adjudged to have come off Nathan Toby last. All just waiting for options. James Pascoe giving some running directions to McManus. He gets up, can't quite get to it. It comes down with Cousins. Falls to Jackson Frendo. Across to Regan. He tries to spin it wide for Joyce, but it's picked off. Now Zervis. Regan thinks about a probably questionable tackle. Decides better of it. Zervis into the box now. Threads it back and it's broken up by Pappas. Well done. He read that perfectly.
He did. It was a great position, though. There's a couple of times Azzurri have got into those positions, but certainly that's the first time Olympic have, and they've been a little bit disappointed that they find the defender rather than the dark or the navy blue shirt.
And you see a pass that's not quite on target. Toby does well to get a boot in, but straight away turns back through Cousins. Cousins to Frendo, Jackson Frendo, of course, and try and differentiate Frendo to Frendo as much as we can. Cousins. Now it comes wide. Poole threads it through. Regan, Pappas. Pappas swings wide to Joyce. Joyce lofts it forward, looking for Irvine Rumble slicing through, but he's going to have to be quick, and he's not quite quick enough. And again, Brett, I've noticed quite interesting just how wide both Lundy and McManus are sitting, and it's really spreading that back four for Olympic, which is creating those opportunities for someone like Rumble to come through from the midfield if they can thread that ball with the right weight. Yeah,
both wide players are staying very high and wide, and they are looking generally for that midfield runner to go beyond, to go and support the lone striker up front with which is the boy through. So certainly from that, I think if we look at
challenge here, Ben Hayes spinning in contact, can't come away with it.
I think Olympic have really suggested that they're happy for Charlestown to have the ball, certainly in their own half, and not really looking at high engagement until they come into that over the halfway line.
It's going to be dangerous here. Pearce was a long way out of his box. That's a clumsy challenge from Toby, and that'll be a free. He had to come a long way out to deal with that, Pearce, and they did well just to hang on to the ball. Charlestown sensed the bit of blood in the water for a moment.
Yeah, he's been interesting, Pearce. He seems to be very comfortable with the ball at his feet, but sometimes you just get the feeling that there may be a little bit of a problem or an issue or a mistake waiting to happen sometimes with the way that he is. I don't know. I've never seen him play before, but he does give me the impression that there may be a problem.
He comes out again here, gets a good hand to it just on the front of the 18-yard box. Zervis comes away with it. He's going to use his pace. He threads the ball through, looking for Toby. Toby v. Pappas. Toby's got it, taps it inside. Nice little 1-2. Toby crosses it to the far post, and McNamara takes it very casually.
It was a good opportunity, that good break. A nice little combination play from Toby and Zervis, and but he'll be a bit disappointed. He was trying to look for the far side player that was coming in, but again, all about the quality, and fouled and just put the ball into the keeper, who picked it up easily.
Frendo to Frendo, Jackson to Harry. Now it spills back to Joyce. Certainly been an enthralling opening to this game. I promised it was going to be a cracking contest, and it's delivered that already. No goals yet, but end-to-end football, and some nice work there from Hull. Frendo appealing for a foul there, but looked a little more acrobatic than anyone being actually aggrieved. Hull has some hands-on from Hay. The referee says he's happy to play it through. Lundy slicing in dangerously from the left. Pops it back for Cousins. Joyce is out wide if he wants him, and that's where he goes. He's got plenty of time and space to take things on. He pulls up and lays it back for Irvine Rumble, and back to Regan now. Jackson Frendo plays it out to a very high Joyce. Lofts it into the box, looking for Harry Frendo, and it's seen away off the header from Frendo, and it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, not a lot of bodies in the box for Charlestown when they get wide. Generally, Cousins is trying to go in there, but really it's only the one or two bodies that are getting in. I'd probably say that from a Charlestown perspective, maybe a few more of the midfielders could go and link in, because also the wide player, Reece McManus, on that occasion was way out the side as well. So I'd probably say that let's try and get a few more bodies in the box to look a little bit more dangerous from crossing positions.
I was about to say Toby had done well to keep that in, but the assistant referee says it's just passed over the line. And Pearce happy to send it wide and deep. All with the throw. Looking for Frendo. Frendo does well, finds McManus. He leaves it behind, and then it's shepherded over the line by Rutledge. It'll be an Olympic throw. Yarkos heads downfield with it. Pappas hoiks it forward and left. One out for now. Nicely threaded for Hay. He controls it well with the first couple of touches, but then he's out-muscled. That's some beautiful defensive work there. Now Houle, a little touch to the outside. They go wide. McManus, he's got a runner down the line if he wants him. Decides to go back there. Frenda made a nice run after that good tackle. Cousins pushes it across for Regan. Thinks about going to Joyce, decides better, goes back to McNamara. Cousins and Pappas under pressure. The Olympic players and crowd appealing for handball there against Pappas. Referee having none of it. Now Pappas just going to take it out. Threads it long. Frendo looking back for Hall, but Toby slides in and pushes it across the sideline. McManus wants to take the throw quickly, lofts it forward, looking for Frendo. That's Harry Frendo. He's going to be happy to shepherd this across the line for a corner, and that's exactly what will happen. Another corner for Azzurri. This is the third time we've seen them set up for a corner already early in this game on this southwestern side of Darling Street Oval.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they use the same, which is trying to get Cousins into the game with either a direct header back or another one to turn it in. But it's definitely always the first two have been hit deep, with obviously Taylor Regan making the sort of dummy runs.
Regan does that again, comes in, and that's where they go again. A little bit heavier this time. They do find Cousins on the edge of the 18-yard box, but he's going to have work to do under pressure from Thiakos. Nice little dummy. Slices it back for Frendo. He drops it back. Pappas tries to drill it in between, and Pearce reads it at the right post.
Yeah, it wasn't really going to ever trouble him. Never really quite got hold of it. But sort of, again, they used the same ploy, the same corner, and it's been successful 2 out of the 3 times where they've got something, or at least made the goalkeeper work.
Pappas now, lots of time, lots of space, and in no hurry. See a nice little run there from Lundy. And that's the midpoint, and with the temperature as high as it is, we will have a drinks break, or a cooling break, I think it's called under the Football Australia policies now.
Yeah, both teams, as I said, the game's opened up, certainly from the first couple of 3 minutes. Olympic seem as though they're not really looking to win the ball that high, and they're allowing plenty of time for the back four of Charlestown to build, and then trying to pick them off from there. Charlestown have generally gone round what I call round the horseshoe, round the back, and then tried to go up higher and tried to get that ball into the wide positions, where hopefully then their wide players at the moment probably are not having that much success in really looking at that threatening. Certainly in midfield, the two Frodos are both to the fore. But overall, I'd probably say that Olympic have probably had the best chance, but it didn't even get to an end finish because the cross that came in was a particularly poor one, which lost the momentum of the move, and the goalkeeper easily picked it up.
It's going to be interesting to see. I just noted just before they came to that drinks break that Frendo had switched across, Lundy had switched across to this right-hand side. So it'll be interesting to see if that's a switch that James Pascoe's now gone with for this half. Just see something that he likes in the matchup, and maybe pushing McManus. Either way, they've both been quite dangerous, as you said. just getting those runs through, and the Friendos have both done a little bit of that, but Irvine Rumble probably looked the most dangerous when he had that one opportunity. So if we can see a bit more from him, he played a little bit of box-to-box, to be fair, throughout this game already.
Yeah, I definitely think that Charlestown, certainly from crossing positions, don't get what I call an abundance of players into the box. But certainly that would be something from a wide position that maybe they would look to get a few more bodies into the box to try and achieve success from there. But it's certainly something at the moment that they don't appear to be free-flowing midfield players trying to sort of get to the box. Cousins has done, but generally he's just been about the only one, and there's probably been only a maximum of 3 players in there at any one time.
Of course, as soon as I've said that, they've switched straight back, so it must have just been Lundy just going on a bit of a wander. So that's what they call a commentator's curse, I think, Brett. Just as soon as we notice something, it's an observation that's gone. And now we'll resume from the cooling break with a throw in the way of Olympic. Pappas just pushes that away. Irvine Rumble sends it back to Regan, who lofts it forward for Joyce. Joyce pushing it forward for the pace of Lundy. Lundy up against Rodway, turns him inside out and then lays it off for Joyce, who makes a good ranging run down the left, gets to the edge of the 18-yard box, cuts back in, threads it in, just out in front of Harry Friendo, but was just a touch offline. It's copped a deflection though on the way through, so we will have another corner for Azzurri, and again it'll be Hull to take it, and again you can straight away see Tyron Cousins heading to that back post. Yeah, I think that is par for the course. I think Taylor Regan generally sort of tries to break up the defensive units with his movement, but generally it's always been sort of hit very deep to the back post. And like I said, they've managed to get one shot off and a header that basically went back into the goalkeeper. So, you know, out of the 3 that they've taken, they have had sort of relative success out of 2 of them. Stands over at left hand, or aloft. This one looks a little more dangerous. Spills for Friendo. Not done with yet. Harry Friendo looking, threads it for Cousins. Well blocked by Nathan Toby there. He got across, saw Cousins looking to wind up, and now it will be a throw for Charlestown about 15 or 16 metres from the corner flag. Again, they create the space there. It wasn't Cousins, it was Friendo, but there was half a chance there if he'd have been a little bit more alert, and sort of he didn't really make the best use of it. Again, Charlestown going the long throw into the box, nodded away. Oh, it was Rutledge that got the header to it, and again it'll be another corner. They're racking up the corners early here, Charlestown. Only about 25 minutes gone, and it's about their 6th or 7th. Yeah, they've been quite direct, and obviously McManus has got a throw as good as a kick as well from what we've seen of those first 2. So Olympic are sort of trying to deal with that and haven't probably done that well by clearing it, mainly for corners. Now Regan holding in the pack with Cousins at that back post, but that one just a little too far, a little too deep, if you will, and floats over the crossbar unthreateningly for Charlestown. And they had built a little bit of pressure there, and sort of obviously from the corner kick coming in and going straight out, it's just relieved that pressure for Olympic a little bit. Rutledge goes long. Hull just watches it. The side's better of it, happy to settle for a throw in. Deep in defensive territory. You can see a little bit of the spark and acceleration has dropped away for a few of the players. The heat's starting to take its toll as Cousins ends up on the deck there, and another throw now comes the way of Azzurri. With the throw, Cousins using his physical presence. Nicely put back in by McManus. Broken up though by Lockie West, and now Zervis takes it wide, finds it for Hay. Regan throws himself into that challenge and comes out with the ball. And West just decides to go into the back of his opposite number, and not a good sign. Charlestown have gone on quickly here, but Tyron Cousins is down, clutching his right hamstring. Ball pushed wide. And see what the referee does here with the player on the deck, whether he pulls things up or allows it to continue. He's going to allow it to continue for the time being. He's actually holding the back of his knee here. And Olympic have decided to kick the ball into touch.
Interesting one there. He was, to be fair to him, the referee was consistent. He allowed both teams to play on until he obviously thought that there wasn't the need to stop the game, and he's allowed the game to go on. And like I said, the one thing I suppose that you want from referees is that consistency, and he was consistent. He didn't immediately blow up. Just because Olympic had won the ball, he allowed them to play, and obviously the game sort of petered out because everybody was looking for the referee to blow the whistle.
Yeah, hopefully nothing too serious, but he hasn't moved too far, Tyrone Cousins. And as I said, it looked at first he was grabbing the hamstring, but he ended up settling on the knee, so...
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of an impact there. Obviously he was trying to shield the ball, and he's probably just got a little bit of a knee in the back of his knee, and he's probably feeling the effects of that. But certainly he hasn't moved too much since he went down initially.
They've rolled him over now. The physio having a look. A lot of the players taking the opportunity now to get some water in, which is understandable. He's back to his feet, assisted a little by a teammate and the physio, which is positive. It does look like it's the knee. He's struggling to put weight on it. Hopefully nothing too major. As you said, it did look like a little bit of weight from the opponent, and he was probably turning his body as he was in contact.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't look as though he's that mobile at the moment.
No, great little bit of sportsmanship from Nathan Toby, just coming over to give him a hand across to the sideline. Again, we hope it's nothing too serious for Cousins. It will be a change straight away. They're not hesitating. So it'll be Elkington to come on for Cousins. We'll see how they redistribute or reshuffle, or whether he slots straight into that midfield position.
It's certainly going to make a difference for the set plays, because there's no way Elkington's going to play that role that Cousins was playing for the set plays. So that definitely, I would imagine that Taylor Regan would be the one now to be hitting at the back stick.
You'd have to think, yeah, from what we've seen already, it might be a Frendo and Regan might become the dynamic duo at the set piece. Azzurri take the throw because Olympic had kicked it out, and Regan just clears it downfield to return possession to Olympic. Bit of the gentleman's code of football, doing the right thing there. Try and keep you up to date with what's happening with Tyrone Cousins here. He's almost ended up in the play, as he's prone on the sideline, still getting some treatment. In the meantime, Jared Muller, who had very little involvement really so far today, finds himself on a little run out wide. Now the ball pushed forward for Frendo. Is it going to manage to stay inside the touchline? I don't think it quite is. It's going to beat both himself and the captain of Newcastle Olympic, Marcus Duncan, and trickle over the line. And Duncan decides against a quick throw and hands it off to Stephen Theakos. And McManus is trying to suggest to him that the ball might have gone out another 10 or 15 metres back, but the referee seems okay with that. McManus now pushes it across to the opposite wing in Lundy. Lundy takes off. Frendo drops it in his path, and then it's cleared away. Watching Regan Lundy over the ball, he's got a real sprinter's sort of pose. He gets very low. He's not, it's very different to what we traditionally see from footballers.
Yeah, I think if he can get his, receive the ball in and around that final third, I think with his dynamics he could create some issues for the Olympic back four. He's probably not got into those positions often enough at the moment.
No, he picked up a double last week, so certainly a goal-scoring threat. Of course, don't forget, after the enthralling action here this afternoon, you can switch over on the Northern New South Wales YouTube channel and catch the final game of the round, as New Lambton will take on Broadmeadow Magic in another crucial clash as well. And all games this season live and free for both the men's and women's NPL. As we see, McManus crossed it into the box, cleared away by Rutledge. Over the sideline for a throw, as I was saying, for the men's and women's NPL. First grade and reserve grade, all live and free on the Northern New South Wales Football YouTube channel. The home of all your Northern New South Wales football this season. It's great to be able to stream both grades and both the men's and the women's across the season. Long throw again, dangerously into the box. Rutledge gets the head to it. Not completely cleared yet. Pushed away in the end by Bradbury. Muller sends it out. Spills back the other way. McManus now. Will he look to take on the outside? No, he cuts back in. Crosses it into the box. No one really there. Headed forward. Elkington gets himself involved. Irvine Rumble. Frendo manages to hang on to the ball. He's in a lot of dark blue traffic and they take the ball away. Hay comes away with it. It goes down the line and will be an Azzurri throw. Taylor Regan sitting down on the ground at the moment.
Yeah.
A few players starting to look a little worse for wear.
Yeah, don't know. Obviously, the ball's been up in the other end of the pitch in the main in the last few minutes, so I don't know what's happened here, but possibly not looking that good because he's down, sitting on the floor and requiring treatment.
I'm just trying to get up there as I've seen, and then decides better of it. He's holding his looks like he's holding his groin or hamstring.
Yeah, it looked as though it was the inside groin. Yeah, in the inside groin, but I don't know what quite happened. And obviously, Taylor's not in the fullness of youth. So obviously, I think
Taylor will be okay with this.
Yeah.
He's 36, so I think he's okay with understanding that he's, on the older end of the age spectrum. Hopefully, nothing too serious, just a little tweak. And the one thing about Taylor Regan is, ever since the start of his career, he's been the same. He's all lean muscle mass. There's not much else on him. So, and it does look like, again, he's pointing at that, signaling to the physio about it being the groin region. So not ideal. And we've got, looks like Kieran Hayes getting warmed up. So that's not a good sign if Charlestown are forced into a second rotation here inside the first half. Both from the point of view that Regan's one of their most experienced players and the fact that it would limit their options in the second half.
Yeah, and certainly from a long throw or a set-piece perspective, certainly one less decent body to try and hit.
Elkington manages to come away with that. McManus decides to try and slice through about 4 Olympic jerseys. Doesn't quite work out, but it falls for Hoole. Lundy calling for the ball at feet. It falls instead to Irvine Rumble. He goes across to the left. And Jackson Frendo has, for the time being, dropped back to play centre back in the absence of Regan. Azzurri pushing on with 10 players for the time being. Joyce back. Irvine Rumble all the way back to Frendo. Now Pappas takes it forward. Looks to engage the defence. Lofts it up front looking for Harry Frendo. Doesn't quite work out. Lundy sends it wide for McManus. All the way back to Hoole. It's struggling to find that runner into the box and the open path. But here's Lundy now. Pushes it across. Hoole there has pushed his way centrally. Now it comes out to Joyce. He's going to loft it into the box looking for a header from McManus. It worked. Irvine Rumble headed away on the line. Irvine Rumble and Toby fighting it out. Irvine Rumble back to his feet, picks up the ball. Now Joyce skips to the outside. Irvine Rumble. Charlestown trying to turn the screws in the attacking third. Lundy does well with a little touch, but then it's cleared away. That was good pressure building from Charlestown, but it's all dealt with in the end by Rodway.
Yeah, they were quite steady. I see that there is now a substitution, so obviously Taylor's not fit enough to come on or to come back into the pitch. But again, never really worked the goalkeeper. They had a lot of good possession, but never really troubled the Olympic to the point where it looked as though a goal may be scored.
So Hayes will be the replacement for Azzurri. Irvine Rumble throws himself all different ways till Sunday, but doesn't come away with the ball. Now Muller taking it on. Elkington drops back to Hay. Can't get a shot away. Jethro Elkington clears it. Somehow finds the boots of Harry Frendo. He's going to take off on a run. Racing down his right flank is McManus. He wants the ball. Lundy overlapping around the left, but beautifully done by Rodway. gets the boot in and breaks it up.
Yeah, another good promising attack, not come to fruition really.
Speaking of promising attacks, does well just at the edge of his 18-yard box. McNamara showing all of his years of experience there.
Yeah, he had to as well, because it did look as though the 7 was going to come across and, get across and take it off him. But as you said, all his years' experience saw him in the right position to come and collect.
McNamara would have full well known the threat that Cale Bradbury poses. Bradbury in his first season in Olympic colours. Only 2 goals to his name from 2 appearances. It's the sort of returns that they would have been hoping when they signed him Olympic. Azzurri pops himself back in, gets to the outside. He's going to find himself in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to get a talking to at a minimum, I would suggest. Azzurri trying to continue on.
He's been their brightest link, Zervis, today at the moment. Every time he's got the ball, something looks as though it's going to happen. It's not always happened, but it looks as though it's going to. And now he's gotten them in a good position. And if he can whip this ball in, into a dangerous area, this could be an interesting situation for Olympic to get the first goal of the game.
And certainly Charlestown much better in terms of the territory and possession, you'd have to say. But as you said, Zervis has been a spark when he's down here. Muller and Bradbury haven't had a lot of opportunities, but it only takes one as it spills down. Hoole slices it back over his left shoulder. Not completely cleared away just yet. Toby trying to get up for it. Falls dangerously in the box. Hoole again tries to get it before it's sent sniper-like rocketing into the crowd. Nearly takes out another innocent bystander. It's a dangerous pastime watching football here at Darling Street this weekend.
Yeah, it was a little bit sort of last gasp there from Charlestown to get that out of the way.
Looking a little frantic in defence as that throw-in goes long, and the referee calls for a foul against Muller on his opposite number in Hoole. He just a couple of hands in the back and pushed him to ground.
I don't think he could have any complaints on that one. It was blatantly obvious that he pushed him to the ground as he was just about to head the ball clear.
Pappas gets us moving quickly, finds Joyce in some space. Toby having to cover some ground to shut that down. Does well. He's a flyer in his own right is Nathan Toby with how quick he covered that space. Frendo loses out. Lockie West. Seen another player, looks like maybe sniper there. Is that Ben Hay? It's a rough day for some of the experienced players today as the ball comes wide to McManus. McManus going to go one-on-one with Theakos, gets to the outside, crosses it in dangerously, but then, again, the Achilles heel of Charlestown is getting someone forward into that box to finish.
Yeah, again, 1v1, McManus has gone round. It's a great ball into the box, but again, there's just the one player, there's just the one body there, and if it misses him, it misses the whole team. So that would be the one thing that we take from this, that realistically, if they want to score goals, they need to get more players into threatening positions to go and do that, and Charlestown haven't really done that often enough when the ball's in good crossing wide positions.
Toole breaks it up. Well, lofted back across. Bradbury using his now. Tries to thread into the box, but Pappas reads it perfectly. Slices it forward. McManus happy just to hold up over the ball against Theakos, and Theakos taps it across the sideline.
If there has been one thing that has been sort of consistent with both teams is when they have got the ball into wide positions, nobody's really put the good enough quality in to get something out of it, even if they've not missed the first defender or they've not had runners. But that's the one thing both teams have sort of been guilty of in this first half, a poor end outcome to the final pass.
Now, Olympic go on the attack. Muller gets it from Bradbury, tries to return it back, and Irvine Rumble does well. Some good body positioning from Theakos there. I'll tell you what, that little battle between Theakos and McManus has been well worth the price of admission alone. Those two have gone at each other all game so far in some pretty trying conditions.
They certainly have. They've been at it from the first minute, and I should say on his evening at the moment.
Bradbury, well done, coming back Lundy, but it hasn't completely gone away. Muller appeals for the penalty, but hard to call that one. Pappas' elbow was by his side when it hit him. But again, now it's Elkington that breaks it up. Now McManus goes forward and he's collected a sloppy challenge by Lockie West, and it's not the first sloppy challenge from West, and unsurprisingly ends up in the book.
Yeah, as I say, they were just breaking on him, and he's made the tackle. Unfortunately, he's not taken the ball. He's taken the Charlestown's legs, and quite rightly, free kick's been given. And in these days, if you give a foul away, it's usually a yellow card that's issued rather than give you too many chances.
Fourth official readying his board to show us how much extra time will be played. Scrappy challenge in the box, and yeah, Jackson Frendo just hooked the arm over the shoulder of the defender there, and the referee straight onto him. And an additional 5 minutes of time. Probably not that surprising considering the couple of injuries and a cooling break that we've had.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting in these last 5 minutes whether who manages the game better, because you tend to see goals going in quite late as the half wears on. So it'll be about the focus and managing the game for this last 5 minutes to go in at 0-0.
Lines up in the crowd here as Adam Pearce decides to pack his team to this side again. He goes a bit more central this time, and Hay wins out for the time being. Actually, Muller, apologies, not Hay. This is Frendo now. Rutledge bumps the ball, and then Frendo goes over his leg, and they all of a sudden put it forward using the pace of Toby. This is dangerous for Olympic. Nathan Toby threads it back, but again, there's no one there. Muller had overrun. He was up inside the 6-yard box. That second wave needed to be there for Olympic.
Yeah, but again, great opportunity, great positioning, but no end outcome.
Rutledge slices that one off the outside of the boot, I should say. Lundy threads it back. Elkington does well. Now they go wide. Hayes threads it out for Joyce. Joyce now for Irvine Rumble. Irvine Rumble back into Lundy. Drops it back for Joyce, who, as he has for most of the day, has had all sorts of time and space. Well lofted into the box. Jackson Frendo on the edge of the 18-yard box. Irvine Rumble now crosses it into the back post, looking for McManus. He gets ahead to it, and he beats the keeper. And you couldn't pick a more deserving candidate for the opening goal here today. Reece McManus with a well-finished header, and Charlestown Azzurri lead 1-0.
Yeah, as I said, they built up well, and this time McManus was really positive in his movement, and he's coming round the back and finished it off nicely, gave the keeper no chance at all. I would have said that probably Olympic are a little bit disappointed of how the cross has come in a little bit easy, but once the ball's in, it's a 50-50 chance now for McManus, and he's got in over the top, beaten his marker and planted it into the top corner.
It was beautifully positioned, well-timed run, and a nice header just past the outstretched arm of Adam Pearce. And that passage of play over the last probably 2 minutes there just sums up this game. Olympic were, inches away from scoring themselves, and then Azzurri go the length. Really shows there's nothing between these two sides at the moment. Just that one goal on the scoreboard, and as I said, probably not a more deserving candidate than McManus from the display he's put in on the opening 45.
Yeah, he's been the most dangerous. He's got himself into some decent positions, potentially not quite brought about the end outcome, but he's certainly looked a different player in the forward attacking for Charlestown, and they've not had a lot of that really going forward unduly.
There he is there. He got a bit aerial and ended up over the top, and the referee has pinged him for it. I think he might have climbed over the back of Theakos a little bit too aggressively before he actually got to the header. Had he got the header first, it might have been a different story. Now Duncan, Rutledge streams forward, lays it off. I don't think Theakos was expecting that ball to come. McManus again is there and gets himself in the way.
We spoke earlier, Chris, about managing the game, and obviously Charlestown have done that. They've scored in this little extra 5 minutes that are being played.
They've got the advantage for now. Still a long way to go. Big second half in the heat. Now the ball goes wide. Haven't seen a lot of Robway with the ball at feet. Falls dangerously. You feel that might have been an opportunity for Muller. But Elkington's done well, not only to get rid of it the first time, but to follow through and clear it down towards halfway.
He'll be disappointed, Muller, that he didn't get a strike off there. It was a good ball in, and again, it's just a touch from the chest to turn and swivel, but unfortunately it was too heavy and he lost possession.
West crunched by Elkington, and there'll be a free kick just outside the 18-yard box. Marcus Duncan realises the urgency. We're essentially about 40 seconds from the elapsement of the 5 minutes of additional time. Obviously, we're then at the discretion further of the referee based on the goal and stoppages in stoppage time. Just thinking here, Brett, as the referee sets this, it's going to be interesting if we go into the half at 1-0, because knowing that Charlestown have also used 2 of their rotations, there might be a temptation as well for their coach to have a look and figure out what he's got to do at half-time, because he gets a free rotation essentially at half-time to utilise some of his changes as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manage that part of the game as well. Have a look here. Zervis over the ball. I might come back to you on that thought in a second. Crossed in dangerously. Oh! Inches over the crossbar. You could see even Ben McNamara had a double take on that ball when it rattled a bit of the net. He wasn't quite sure, and I'm sure that his heart retreated very quickly from his mouth once he realised that it hit the top of the roof and not inside the wall of the net.
Yeah, he seemed to have a lot more confidence than probably watching here, looking at it. But as it was whipped in well, but just slightly over the top of the crossbar and ended up on the top of the net rather than underneath the crossbar and in the net.
He'll take all the time in the world here, Ben McNamara, hoping to chew it down. We are very much at the referee's discretion now. Over 5 minutes has gone. And there goes the whistle to the mouth. And that will be half-time here. And it's been a thrilling 45 minutes of football at Darling Street Oval for the round 3 match of the round. And at the break, it is Charlestown Azzurri leading 1-0 through that sole goal to Reece McManus. But as we were saying, Brett, it's an interesting time. 2 forced changes for Charlestown in this first half, which means there's probably a few more thoughts going through James Pascoe's minds in terms of games management, not just managing his player load through the heat.
That's right. I think he's lost obviously 2 pivotal players for them from the first half. Obviously replacements are on, but it does limit the options then about what you're going to do and when you're going to do it with what's left on the bench. So he wouldn't have been expecting to make those changes as early as he has done in this first half, and now he's going to have to manage that certainly in the second half. But the good thing is that they've got a lead to hold on to rather than chasing the game.
They certainly do. You'd probably rather just marginally be in those sheds of Charlestown Azzurri with the 1-goal lead, but there'll be some work to do for both Paul Davidis and Mick Bolch in that Olympic change room, and James Pascoe in the Azzurri change room, because we're going to have a hot 45 minutes, and not just in terms of temperature, but the quality of football in the second half. Myself and Brett England will take a short break here, and Brett Angel, sorry. Throwing your nation in there. Brett Angel will take a short break, and we'll rejoin you with the second half in about 10 minutes or so from Darling Street.
You can find football almost everywhere you look. It's not just on a pitch on a Saturday. Football is ingrained in our communities and our lives. Football is friendship, fitness, connection, passion, joy, despair, and the love of the game. From Newcastle Permanent Community Football and our Coles Mini Roos to our NPL competitions and the A-Leagues. On the beach, at school, at the park, in the backyard, or on the pitch. Football is everywhere in northern New South Wales.
Football is Newcastle, Mid-North Coast,
Lake Macquarie,
it's Coffs Harbour, the Hampton Valley,
the Northern Inland,
the Far North Coast,
and everywhere in between. No matter who you are, there's a place for you to play football with us. Registrations for the 2025 season are open now. Search Northern New South Wales Football to find your club and join our team, because
football is
everywhere! It's everywhere! Everywhere! It's everywhere! Football is everywhere!
Because football is everywhere in northern New South Wales. No matter who you are, there's a place for you to play football with us. Registrations for the 2025 season are open now.
Football is
everywhere! It's everywhere!
On the beach, at school, at the park, in the backyard or on the pitch, football is everywhere in northern New South Wales.
Football is Newcastle.
Lake Macquarie.
The Hunter Valley!
Search Northern New South Wales Football to find your club and join our team, because football is everywhere in northern New South Wales.
Well, welcome back to Darling Street Oval for the second half of this round 3 Northern New South Wales NPL match of the round between Newcastle Olympic and Charlestown Azzurri. Chris McPherson and Brett Angel bringing you all of the action. And Brett, there wasn't a lot separating the two teams. I know we've got one goal on the score sheet, but outside of that goal, you could have quite easily argued that at different points both sides had the upper hand, and both sides probably left themselves wanting a bit at points too.
Yeah, there was very little in it, really. Obviously, goals change games, and Azzurri have got that all-important goal. I just think that Olympic will be a little bit more proactive, certainly in this first initial 15 minutes. It will be interesting to see what sort of mind frame that Azzurri are in. Are they going to try and hold on to what they've already got and be very stoic defensively? Or are they going to put the game to bed and go 2-3 up and put it to bed quite quickly? It'll be interesting to see what mindset. But likewise, they are limited as to the options that they've got because of what's happened in the first half with the 2 injuries to those more experienced players.
Yeah, you touch on those as we see Taylor Regan just come out of the tunnel, still in kit but boots off. We've seen Regan go down, we saw Cousins go down. They're 2 interesting, I guess, injuries from an Azzurri point of view, not only just for the makeup of the remainder of this game, but also for their season as it continues, because there's a fair bit of experience between those 2.
Yeah, generally experience is difficult to replace, and certainly those type of players are, very sort of central to how your team does and what it does, and obviously both of those missing at the moment. A couple of replacements have come in, but they're not probably like-for-like replacements, probably more position-specific replacements.
Well, when we look at Regan too, obviously one of the talking points in the off-season was the very well-earned retirement of Nigel Bugard, one of the, elder statesmen of the Newcastle competition, spent so long in the A-League as well as we know. Plied his trade here for a couple of seasons, so there was the question of the defensive unit for them. They obviously have brought Pappas in here, who's playing in that space, but it's another hole there for them, especially if this is anything more than just today.
That's right. It's never easy replacing your more influential players, and obviously Taylor Regan's been one of those more influential players. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage to do that. Not only today, they've certainly sort of looked as though they've been okay at the moment, but certainly moving forward.
As we get back underway, and just on that point, it will be a big job for Kieran Hayes. He's come back from the US, former Edgeworth junior. He's got a big job coming on off the bench to hold out in that centre-back role alongside Reece Pappas for the remainder of this game as Charlestown look to continue on with this 1-goal lead at the break. Bradbury fighting tooth and nail there, can't hang on, and that was a bit of a clumsy challenge in the end. It looks like we've actually had a change for Olympic at the break. So Blake Green's come on, playing game number 101. Put up his 100th game last week. Frendo nods that forward, not threatening at all, and Pearce just strides out to pick that up.
Again, that ball came in, Frendo knocks it on, but realistically there's only one other body in and alongside him to actually see whether they can get a knockdown or something off it.
Clearance goes out across the sideline on the western side of Darling Street Oval here. And he goes long, brought to ground and down by Frendo, but it'll be an Olympic throw. Yarkos takes it. Headed away. Jackson Frendo. Irvine Rumble thought about playing it back, but Muller was in his way. Now they go long. Threaded through. Just confirming that change. It was Jai Rodway coming off at half-time for Blake Green. As now Ben Hay almost creates an opportunity but has his pocket picked. Oh, Matt Hull. Azzurri working hard in defence. The ball falls for Frendo, but he has it taken away by West. Now Hay dropping back. Rutledge goes long. And away now. And on. Hay dropping it back for Rutledge again. A little bit of deja vu there. Muller has a wall of defenders, has a crack, and it's nearly cleared the outer fence here at Darling Street, well off target. A bit like in the first half. It counts as a shot, but not much more than that.
No, I'd be a bit disappointed. He created himself a little bit of space, faced up to the back four of Charlestown, but really will be disappointed of his effort there. It was high, wide and handsome, and never looking as though it would go into the goal.
Equally as unthreatening as that ball back there to Pearce. He came out and took that with comfort. Harry Frendo will just try and hold up and stay in his eye line, but he rolls it out in front of Rutledge. As he touched on, Rutledge would love to seal not only 3 points to celebrate today, but to celebrate the birth of his new family member in Lenny as Olympic go on the attack. Crossed in, hits the crossbar. I'm not sure if that was a cross or a shot from Olympic. I'm sure if it had gone in, it would have been claimed as a shot. Muller now finds some space, but the ball a little too heavy and races away for a goal kick, and that's probably the closest we've seen Olympic to come to draw blood.
Yeah, they've worked the ball nicely down the left-hand side, and Cal Bradbury has got himself in. He's had a little look up. I think he had a couple of options that he could have chose to go himself, and he's whipped it across and hit the top of the crossbar and come out. So unfortunate that it hasn't ended up in the back of the net, but better approach play from Olympic.
Frendo tries to turn that one in, but has it taken away by Green. Now Olympic. Back now with Pearce, and again, he likes trying to send him into the crowd, Adam Pearce. I don't know if there's people here that have got on the wrong side of him, but he's not in doubt when he's sending them across the sideline. Hayes and Elkington, the two substitutes combined. Now Joyce. He's been afforded a lot of space in the first half and similarly finds plenty of space here. Toby does well to get a boot in. The attempted through ball, though, is picked off. Elkington happy to send it back. And just off target for Hayes, looking for an advancing Regan Lundy.
Yeah, a little bit of sort of scrappy passage of play from both teams, giving the ball away too cheaply, too easily, and a lot of transition going on in this first initial 5 minutes.
Arcos with the throw. Irvine Rumble gets a boot in. Now it goes wide. Green. Bradbury puts it out in front of Green. He's going to need some wheels to reel that in. I don't think anyone on the field was quite quick enough to get to that one.
Again, they've had a little bit more joy down the left-hand side. Green and Bradbury building up. Obviously over-hit the pass there, but they look a little bit more threatening down that left-hand side since the second half has started.
Certainly do. Blake Green looks to have added a little spark there coming in at half-time already. McNamara takes his time. Off for Hayes now. Looking wide for Lundy, and again, becoming a very dangerous pastime sitting here in the front rows at Darling Street. Won't get much closer to the action, that's for sure. Rutledge drops it back for Pearce, who meanders out of his box to collect that. Driven low and flat, looking for Toby. He's quick. Can he get there quickly enough? No, he can't. And see what if the pace of Nathan Toby's not reeling it in. I don't know that there's anyone else out there that's going to either.
No, it was a little bit overhit, but he tried his best, Nathan Toby, to make what you could possibly call a poor pass into a good one, but didn't quite manage to keep it in play.
Certainly got some pace in a few pockets, the Olympic side, between Toby and Zervas as well. Well served in that regard. Azzurri get a throw, and of course, if you're tuning in watching this on Northern New South Wales Football's YouTube channel, still more action to come for the remainder of the weekend. We've got Newlands versus Broadmeadow in the men's NPL later this afternoon, and straight after this game here at Darling Street, we will have the first grade fixture in the women's NPL from 5 o'clock, which will see Newcastle Olympic taking on Adamstown Rosebuds. So, well worth watching. With a win, Olympic can go back to the top of the table. Rosebuds chasing their first win of the season after they started the season with a bye. And a loss last week to Broadmeadow. Now Azzurri with the throw. They go the long throw as they've persisted with all day. The back header almost worked out from Irvine Rumble. Elkington, overhead kick. Gets up to it again. Certainly has given his all so far since he's come on. Elkington, he's been busy. Now, the danger man, Zervas. He's got time, he's got space. Let's see what sort of close footwork he can do here. Lays it off for Toby. Toby gets a little nudge. Joyce, straight away, the resignation on his face, and he knew he'd been drawn into just the littlest of bumps that would be called as a free kick.
Yeah, but good pressure there from Charlestown to force Olympic back there. Zervas looked as though he was in the ascendancy, but they've managed to sort of crowd him out and have ended up giving a free kick away.
Not the worst position to give away a free kick. A long way from goal in the end, and it's lofted out there optimistically from Duncan. I think looking for Bradbury, but doesn't find him. Now Frendo, his first touch probably a little heavier than he would have liked. Tries to cut it back in field. West all over him. Needs to be cautious. He is on a yellow card already. The only player on the field that is. The goal scorer, McManus, clips it into the back of Green and gets a throw in.
Yeah, as you said, he was a little bit aggressive in his stance a little bit, and that's the way that he plays, so obviously he's not going to change that. But the problem being with that yellow card hanging over him, he only needs to give another foul away and he's likely to be off the pitch.
Again, the long throw finds its way almost to the top of the 6-yard box, doesn't quite fall for them. Cleared away for the time being by Olympic. Lundy will take it on the outside on the left wing. He cuts back, a little double turn. And Piarkos, as he's done all day, steps up and pushes it across the sideline.
It's interesting, when they do the long throw in, how many bodies they actually get into the box from a set play such as this, because it's far more than in normal play, which is an interesting sort of concept that suddenly you find the numbers just because it's a static ball.
Yep, as you say, 4 of them in the box. Olympic more than matching that. They've got 6 in the box, mate. That's 7 with Zervas in the top of the box. Almost 8, Toby on the top of it. And yet, Azzurri nearly get the header out of it. Toby, McManus, Thiakos and Frendo come together. I think it looked a little worse than it was. Frendo a little enthusiastic, but I think the referee again has handled that well.
Yeah, as I said, it was obviously one of those, he's trying to usher it out, and then Frendo's coming round the back of it and trying to sort of half get a leg on it, as well as try and sort of force him off balance, and with quite an aggressive stance as well.
Rutledge now feeds it down. Bradbury drops it back. Thiakos on a run out wide. He catches McManus napping inside. That looked like handball, but the referee said play on. He might have got away with that one, Muller. A spattering of Azzurri fans certainly thought so, unsurprisingly. That's headed back by Joyce. McManus. And it's cleared over the sideline and into the crowd again.
Muller's touch has been a little bit inconsistent today. It's not quite working for him at the moment. He's tried to force a few things with like a shot and what he's done early in the second half. I think he's just getting frustrated with himself at the moment because things aren't quite working his way.
Pappas now goes wide looking for Lundy. Green does well to get a touch and then a header on it, and we'll have a throw in deep in attacking territory. And the switch that I thought happened in the first half has happened at half time. Lundy and McManus have switched sides. The interesting thing, as I say that again, they switch back. Got a knack of that at the moment. Thiakos had followed McManus over to this side, interestingly, as well. So Green moving onto the left. So I wonder if that's a tactical thing for Olympic to have Green feeding Bradbury. It's looked dangerous already. Let's have these long throws from McManus. Comes long into the box and it's punch away from Pearce and falls dangerously in the box. Joyce gets ahead to it. It's still in play just over the top of Frendo and cleared away by Hay.
It's amazing how much trouble is caused from that long direct throw. They've not dealt with it particularly well.
Joyce here. Lundy crosses it into the box to the back post, a little too heavy for McManus, and they'll see it away.
Yeah, as I said, that's their main outlet at the moment for Charlestown has been that long throw into the box, and they've managed to get quite a number of bodies into the box on that occasion. From open play, I'd probably say if they could remain with that sort of number trying to get into the box, there's going to be a better opportunity of goals to be scored from those situations.
Olympic played back. Oh dear, that's a bad defensive pass. Frendo now on a run. If he can find his teammate with his ball, it's going to be a little bit too heavy. The flag stays down, and I'm not quite sure what was happening there. Jackson Frendo, I thought he could have at least got a boot to it and tried to create something with it, but it's like he was caught in two minds as to whether he might have been offside.
Yeah, I think again it's about the releasing of the ball. It's turned over very cheaply, very poor mistake from Olympic, but then there's no end product, and I suppose that's happened for both teams far too often today, and I think that's the bit they'll both be disappointed with. They've got themselves into good positions but have never really actually worked the goalkeeper on any occasions.
Again, Adam Pearce, for the full first half he was setting up on what was their left. Now he sends the team to their right, and Toby can't get to it, and this one trickles over the sideline. Headed back infield, Thiakos, then West. West and Frendo in a battle. West wins again. Elkington gets that one. Hay, Elkington. It's a barrage of headers back to back. Lofted forward, and Joyce watchfully sees it across the sideline.
Nobody able to get real composed possession in that middle zone.
Thiakos, Zervas under pressure from Elkington. Harry Frendo, Joyce pops it across the top. A nicely placed ball out in front of Hoole. He goes down the line. McManus is back over on that right side. Gets the better of Green on the outside. Crosses it into the box. Well dealt with for the time being by Rutledge, and Green does well to turn what looked like it could have been a corner into a throw in midfield. Again,
McManus gets himself great position, great opportunity, but again hits the first man, and that's happened 2 or 3 times today, that he's got in great positions, done his full-back, but has failed to actually apply that final cross in for somebody to get on the end of.
Here comes this long throw again. 4 in the box. Frendo the target. Rutledge comes soaring over the top. And his little header away, sees it clear for the time being, comes back to him and he gets it away again. Nice control, that's better from Muller. Pops it out wide now for Cale Bradbury. He puts it out in front of Nathan Toby, who's a good couple of metres offside.
Yeah, just went a little bit too early. The momentum and the move sort of slowed down a little bit. As you said, better from Muller. That's probably what they've been looking for from him, that link-up play that possibly he's not delivered up to now. But so hopefully they'll be looking for a little bit more from that.
Azzurri straight away on the attack, looking for Lundy and his pace again. The initial header dealt with by Theakos. Irvine Rumble has it taken away by Zervis. Zervis goes flying over the leg of Elkington. Probably looked a bit more graphic than it was.
It was a good little position, that, as well. He was looking to try and squeeze it into Hay in the middle of the midfield, and I think he'd have been clean away in the central area. But, as I say, called back there by Charlestown or for a free kick, but no booking.
Now Duncan taking his time. Lofts it looking for Theakos, and Hayes sees it away. Lundy tries to bring it back in, but that one was well over the sideline to get the assistant referee right on the job.
I think there's got to be a little bit more variation there from Olympic, from those set plays. It's just played up centrally, and it's not as though you've got a lot of height to actually deal with for them.
Yeah, of course. Muller loses his footing in the battle against Joyce. Joyce doing well. Muller clearly getting frustrated with himself, the assistant referee, and anyone else that's in the vicinity at the moment. Waller gone over the sideline and the assistant referee right on top of it. And Joyce will take the throw. Frendo, Theakos. Headed away again by Duncan.
The game's just gone into a little bit of a lull. There's not a lot happening for either side at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see if somebody can pick up the game and sort of take it by the scruff of the neck and see what happens with the last sort of half an hour or so.
You really feel that when it gets into this sort of holding pattern, it's where players like a Zervis or a Toby or even a Lundy on the other side can come into their own. That pace that can just break it open when everyone else is sort of resting on their heels a bit, just waiting for others to do something.
Yeah, and that's right. They're looking for that, and that's what that's what they're in there in the team for. You know, to give them that extra little bit of something to the group and show their qualities. And maybe we'd probably say too few of them have actually done that consistently today.
Throw in, goes back to Duncan, and Duncan's almost sent that to Adamstown, but it found the roof of Darling Street Oval stand instead. Joyce will take the throw in. No, he won't. And surprise, surprise, they call on McManus and the super long throws. And he'll wind up right back to the concrete. And no, he decides better not to stand on the concrete. That's probably a good OH&S decision. And he's going to go the long throw. This is going to be a fairly significant one to get it into the box. He does it well. That's in a good, dangerous position. Frendo brings it down. Lundy gets it. Lundy holds his feet. Threads it through. Irvine Rumble can't get away on the first shot. Frendo's still there. Frendo pops it into the box and headed wide. Oh, good save. What a reaction save from Adam Pearce. That looked for all money it was going to skip into the left-hand side of the goal.
Yeah, great save. Dove into his right-hand side, and Charlestown thought they'd had their second in that little bit of breathing space. But, yeah, great save from Pearce, diving to his right and turning it around the post.
Charlestown happy to take their time. Nathan Toby clearly in a hurry. He goes and sets the ball up for them very thoughtfully in the corner. And unsurprisingly, Matt Hull will have to relocate it and just use a second or two. Doesn't have a lot of space to work with to get a run up here for the right footer. He pops it flat and spills to the ground. Lundy on the outside of the 18-yard box, lofts it in, headed away by an Olympic player. West gets ahead to it. McManus gets ahead to it. Still not completely dealt with. Hull pops it back. Pappas nearly confuses himself as to where it goes. Takes a half-hearted strike at it. Puts it there for Lundy. Lundy pops it into the box for Frendo. Frendo is pushed away. We're going to have a throw the way of Charlestown deep in attacking territory, and Cue the throw in attacking territory. Cue the McManus long throw.
And I suppose you look back at the two people that are not available for him from the first half, and they would be very for this.
They would be. They'd be dangerous in that spot. Frendo gets ahead to that. Now Rutledge pushing forward. Bradbury out-muscled by Hull. Play on, says the referee. Bradbury out-muscled again. Now they come all the way back to Pappas. He lofts it up. I'm not quite sure who he's looking for there. He found an Olympic defender in Thiakos, who kind of shrugged his arms and didn't know what else his teammates wanted of him when they were frustrated with that. But again, here we go again, another long throw. Long throws and corners are plenty for Azzurri, and as you say, causes for Regan and Cousins would have been wonderful, but for the time being it goes in. Irvine Rumble, Thiakos is on the ground, Toby clears it away. Joyce pops it back, the flag goes up. I was going to say, I thought McManus might have been a step or two offside as he was just making his way back. And again, the assistant referee in perfect position.
So again, all Charlestown are doing is asking a few questions defensively. There's a lot of opportunity to get the ball in the box. They're having to defend that first and second possession. At times they've not really had that under control. But certainly the game is more for Charlestown at the moment, and it looks as though Olympic are going to get a goal themselves.
Toby trying to bounce his way around in the edge of the 18-yard box, and instead Charlestown the clearance. Duncan the quick throw for Rutledge. Must be getting close to the cooling break again here in the second half. Might be a chance for everyone to recompose because things just feeling a little frantic on both sides at the moment. Muller again. A heavy touch the first and manages to find Thiakos out wide with his second touch. He's going to try and take on Lundy, and Lundy just read it quite well and pokes it back down the line into no man's land. Thiakos retreats to pick it up. Duncan, Thiakos, Zervas now in for West. West is clipped. Zervas is on the ground. It was almost synchronised.
They certainly don't hang about, Charleston. They put pressure on the ball as soon as they can, and both times there were little clips.
Might have some advantage there. That looked pretty ordinary from Irvine Rumble. What a save! McNamara watchful and up to it. And that will be the drinks break. Carl Bradbury complaining about the challenge, and it didn't look great from Irvine Rumble, but the advantage was played, and they nearly had the ultimate advantage, but Ben McNamara fingertips managed to prevent it.
Yeah, as I said, there were 2 or 3 heavy challenges, and I think the Olympic players are feeling those at the moment, but the ball ran through to Ben was it, and he's got it out of his feet and decided to take a crack, and he's hit a decent strike, and it's ended up on the top of the crossbar and over. So that's the best opportunity that Olympic have had. I would have said that I was expecting a little bit more from them at the start of this second half than they probably provided at this moment in time. But certainly this game is very much in the offing if they want to really take it. As I say, Charlestown, from their set plays and their long throws, have created issues without really opening up, other than that save that Pearce had to make from the header. But so I suppose again there's been very limited opportunities for both teams to have gone and either equalised or gone further in front, as in Charlestown's situation.
Well, looks like Azzurri will be making a double change here. Ferguson coming on. Yeah, another one of the experienced veterans. Feels like he's been a fixture of this Charlestown Azzurri, or even in his time Charlestown City Blues, as they were for a little while there in the in-between lineup. So we'll just have a confirmation on who's coming off as well. But alongside him coming on in this double change, just trying to see, it looks like it might be Reese Pappas coming off. And is it Irvine Rumble as well? It looks like it'll be Nathan Verity and Ferguson going on. It is confirmed. So James Pascoe clearly not looking to park the bus at the moment if you're putting Ferguson on. He's not known for being a defensive-minded player.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, Reece Papas, because I thought he was giving them certainly some direction with his passing out from the back. Generally, he hit the ball long, but he was quite accurate in putting Newcastle under a little bit of pressure with his distribution. So I don't know whether that's injury-related or whether the feeling is that they need some fresh legs in those positions to see out the game.
Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? We know it was their last rotation, so if they're going to make the changes, they had to make them then. So if there is any niggle, or we know Papas missed last week as well, so it might just be that he wasn't quite up to getting 90 minutes, although he looked a little bit bemused as well when he came off. So the one thing that you can see is that Ferguson's gone to the head of the attack. Lundy's dropping into midfield, so it'll be interesting to see where his pace comes into that. Which means that Frendo's out on this edge where we see him almost immediately, almost on cue, come and kick the ball away from the feet of Thiakos. Headed dangerously into the box. Zervis for a moment thought he had it. Lundy acrobatically pushes that across, but it ends up falling at the feet of an Olympic player. Now it comes across to Duncan. Duncan and Rutledge. Rutledge looking for a distribution option. He goes wide to Green. They might have missed a change for Olympic at the same time too. They've gone to the bench. And have a throw. Reece Cooper out there now for Olympic. Ben Hay lofts it towards the back post. And Cooper nearly gets on the score sheet instantly. But again, McNamara there to make the save.
Yeah, good decent ball in to the back post, and Cooper's gone up for the header, and it's fallen kindly to him, and he's got the strike off. But easily saved really for McNamara.
It looks like it's Nathan Toby that's come off the field for Cooper. Interesting, because he certainly looked dangerous at times with the ball at his feet. Toby.
Yeah, it's interesting, that one. You'd probably say from an output perspective, Muller's probably not given that much, but he's decided to persist, and maybe there's a goal coming.
Well, certainly bringing on the experience of Reece Cooper's never a bad thing when you're Newcastle Olympic at this point of the game. A fixture here at Olympic for much, or most of his career, Cooper. Over 170 games for the club. He's their most capped player. Azzurri here, though. What can they create? Frendo into the box, and there's Cooper again on cue. It's almost like these guys can hear us out there, Brett.
Yeah,
mention their name and they get involved.
Yeah, a good piece of defending there, because it looked for half a second he got the wrong side, and Cooper has stuck a leg out and made a good challenge. And here we go again with the another set piece. And this will be interesting now. They may have a few extra bodies from a defensive point of view to attack this ball that they possibly didn't have previously, because Papas never really came forward for these set plays.
Ferguson and Cooper in a little duel there. Ferguson pushing forward. He's the danger man. Muller tries to get up for that one. Can't do too much with it, though. We'll have an Azzurri throw.
I think this is going to come into the box as well. So the problem being now for Olympic is anything in and around sort of 25, 30 yards out that goes out of play, it's going to be thrown into the box.
It's almost like Azzurri are happy to take it as a half lottery, throw it into that box, and if it spills the right way, it hasn't yet, but odds will be at some point in their favour. Ferguson just looked to shove over his opponent there in Thiakos. I'm not sure what Ren Ferguson is doing out here. He's been on for 2 minutes and he's already given away a yellow card. I don't know whether the heat's gotten to him already.
Yeah, the exuberance of getting a run out, I suppose. He was just a little bit too exuberant there, and quite rightly received the yellow card for that challenge.
Maybe just thought he might have had some veteran status that might have carried some weight with a few people, but No leeway. The referee clearly called him out on what was a fairly cynical foul and gave him the yellow card accordingly. He's got a bit of a smirk on his face about it. He knows he's been given his just desserts, if you will, for his actions. As Lundy gets himself into a challenge. Now Frendo comes flying through. They're not going to die wondering, Charlestown Azzurri. Joy shadows that one across the line.
No, they've worked really hard, Azzurri, to nullify and stop anything that the Olympic have built up. That's certainly one thing that they do have in abundance. They're not afraid to go and pressure the ball and put their bodies on the line.
Verity wins that challenge out. But Bradbury comes through and collects. Now Zervis doing what he does well in traffic. Hay pops it back to Zervis. He'll look to cross it into the box. Headed away for the time being. McNamara, though, has to get up and get acrobatic. Then it's cleared long by Hayes. And now Ferguson up against Duncan. Lundy in traffic. Up against the Arcos. Gives it to Ferguson. Pops it back in front for Lundy again. Lundy one-on-one with Rutledge. Throws himself to the ground. Ferguson gives the referee some feedback on it, and I have to say the referee has absolutely got that one 100% right.
Yeah, no, I think he looked for that, which was he's looked very promising, should we say, Lundy, when he's got into those positions, and for me that's exactly where he wants the defender. And I think he went down a little bit too cheaply, too quickly, looking for the penalty rather than actually trying to go past him.
Yep, and I'll see another change here. It'll be Theakos coming from the field. He'll be replaced by Lucas Walsh. Frendo coming at a rate of knots there, and the other Frendo, in Jackson Frendo, comes away with it. Now Ferguson under pressure from Duncan. Frendo lofts it forward optimistically, you'd have to say, for Lundy, and Lundy pumps the brakes as it goes across the sideline. Charlestown coaching staff urging Azzurri forward. They're not happy with 1-0. They want to push the advantage and extend it. Still over 10 minutes to go, and Bradbury gets himself into a dangerous position. What can he create here? Crosses it around the defender into the box. Well done by Joyce. He wraps the ball around his body as he's falling to his left. Wasn't on balance, but did well to clear it. Now Hay doesn't quite control that as he would want. Frendo lobs it forward. Not really to the advantage of anyone from Azzurri, but Lundy throws himself in. Referee's going to play advantage, is he? He is. It's not much of an advantage. Frendo thought about reaching out and grabbing this. The heat clearly getting to a few heads here. Another challenge this time coming in advantage of Azzurri, but it's missed by Lundy. Ferguson clearly displeased. That ball looking for Cooper, but way too far away. Hull gets it and lobs it hard and forward. Ferguson is going to have to behave himself here. He's just thrown himself into that challenge way too early, and the referee's pinged him for it.
Yeah, a little bit of another silly challenge. He's second best there all the way through. You can see it, but obviously he's exuberant about playing and getting out there. But he does need to learn that look, you know, that could have been construed as a second yellow. Realistically, you've seen those cards given for something as innocuous as that previously.
Certainly have. The referee showed good composure just to take a moment and put it into the scale of what we've seen so far today, and I think in the end came up with the right decision, but Ferguson can't rely on that being the case every time, as we still have another 10 plus minutes to get through here at Darling Street. The ball goes through, and there was a little clip there, and I know that Hayes is going to try and protest his innocence here, but if you stick your boot out like that as a player's trying to go through, you're always going to put yourself at the discretion of the referee if there's a collision.
You are, and I just get the feeling now that Newcastle are just beginning to get a little bit more of a foothold into that middle of midfield. They look a little bit more dangerous, and they look a little bit as though maybe Charlestown dropping that little bit deeper, defending their box and finding the heat even more difficult. So it'll be interesting in these last 10 minutes to see whether Olympic can pick up the pace and start to trouble McNamara in the goal.
Green steps up, tries to wrap it around, and McNamara reads it well at the right post.
Yeah, he's got himself behind that. I wouldn't have said it was orthodox. He looked for half a second as though he was struggling a little bit, but he's managed to get his frame across there and connect with it and keep it out.
Got plenty of air on this one. Ferguson gets a clip, goes to ground. He's going to, of course, give the referee some thoughts on what he thought was a foul. He's been exuberant and vociferous since he's got on there, that's for sure. We're going to see a change here, and West, the man carrying the yellow card, will come from the field and he'll be replaced by number 19, Jed Hornery. And interestingly, Hornery will go up front and Muller will be pushed back.
Yeah, again, interesting. As I said, we haven't really seen a lot of Muller today. I think every time he's really looked as though he might do something, it's never really quite come off. He's got quite frustrated, but he's been given a good opportunity playing in a number of different positions, and now he's just playing in behind the front two and seeing whether that one works.
We'll see as Charlestown try to close this out. Well, about 8 minutes of regulation time plus stoppages. That one's attempted to be cleared by Hayes, doesn't quite get to where he wants it. Ferguson nods it on. We go all the way back to Pearce, a little off centre for him. Has to work to recover it. And Walsh thought he was going to take an AFL mark out there on the sideline, but it was well clear.
I think there he was a little bit too heavy for Pearce. He wasn't really expecting it, and then he couldn't really adjust and has just overhit it. But now what he has done is he put it out of play, so we know what's going to happen to put it back in play.
Just the 3 in the box this time. Charlestown a little more conservative, holding back 6. Now they go long, looking for Ferguson. He pushes his way away from the youngster in Walsh. That's going to be a job for him if he's going to be trying to shut down the experience of Ferguson. Frendo still going, manages to cut through, holds his feet, pushes it across the face. No threat in the end, but better from Charlestown with the follow-up at least.
Yeah, second possession, did well on the second possession. It looked as though Olympic were going to clear, but Charlestown have forced the error. And to half a second there, it looked as though he may just get beyond, but just run out of room, really, and then snatched at his shot.
All does well to play it in off the legs of Zervis, and it goes out, and we'll have a throw in for Azzurri. This one a little too deep for the long throw into the box. So they'll go to the edge of the box instead. Ferguson, I was going to say, tries to sell, does manage to convince the referee that he's been fouled there. It was a touch and go. They're both tangled up with each other, but the referee saying that the Olympic player obviously initiated it, and this will be a dangerous dead ball opportunity for Olympic. We saw Pappas from just outside the box in the first half. It won't be him this time around.
No, but it is a good opportunity again to put the ball into the box and see what can come of it. Obviously now we've got 3 or 4 bodies that they can certainly go and hit. So if the delivery is decent, it could be interesting for Charlestown to see whether they can put the game to bed.
We've got Hayes, Ferguson, McManus, who we've seen nod one home already, and Verity in the box. Frendo at the back again. He's the man at the back post. Is that where they'll go? Verity gets up for it, but he is in a little bit of trouble, I think. He's got a very concerned opponent over him, which is generally a very quick sign that there's something untoward. I think he's just landed really awkwardly from the challenge. Actually, it's Ferguson that's on the ground. I think a bit of a head clash as they all went in there. There was a lot of bodies going into traffic. The good news is the veteran striker is up and about.
No, it was a great ball in, actually. It encouraged people to go and attack it, and they certainly did attack it with a lot of bodies in there. And Ferguson obviously got a little bit of a bang and a head knock in trying to divert it into the goal.
Good news is he is back to his feet and back to his normal self, barking instructions at his teammates. As Cooper lofts this forward, looking for Bradbury. He was trying to slice through between the 2 central defenders in Verity and Hayes, but it was shut down. Zervas, rather than take it on, lays it out for Rutledge. There's plenty of space out wide for Green. Muller making a pest of himself, hanging on to McManus there. The ball falls dangerously in the box. Bradbury drops it back. Zervis blocked by Elkington with his back. Bradbury now trying to swing wide. Green back in. Muller doesn't quite get it exactly how he wanted to execute it, but it falls for Green nonetheless. And then a good sliding tackle out wide there is at McManus again. He's been absolutely everywhere today. Yep, he's scored the goal, and there he is with 5 minutes to go doing his defending duties really well. Muller looks as though he's got a little bit of cramp. Again, ball sort of ricocheted away from him. You thought it was going to go in.
to a wide position, but he never really got it out of his feet, and the defender managed to get enough of a touch on it to divert it away from the goal and not allow the oncoming fullback to get across him.
As you said, a little bit of cramp just inside the 18-yard box, and looks like he's going to get back to his feet. And now, see if Olympic are going to try and dish some of Charlestown's own medicine back to them. The irony, if this is where the equaliser came from, they go long and lofted. It's headed back by Hornery. Lofted into the box by Rutledge, but it's well wide of anyone. Joyce is there. He gets underneath it, and for about the 15th time today, the ball comes flying into the crowd.
Yeah, as I said, it's all action stations now.
Cooper long into the box again. Lots of bodies in traffic. Lundy's trying to clear it away. He's got it not quite cleanly, but does enough to get it out of their friendo. Ferguson, tiniest nudge. It wasn't going to take much for him to go to turf, and the experience of him, he knew straight away that the opponent had done enough to gift him a foul.
Yes, he was waiting for contact, and he got the contact that he waited. He knew what he was doing, and obviously that's the experience that you're given, and he knows now, managing the game, that this is the right opportunity to try and draw the fouls, slow the game down. And it's interesting that Olympic have reverted to what Charlestown have been doing all game by throwing that ball into the box.
A bit of gamesmanship as they continue on. Cooper hits and hopes. Hall, the one back there, doesn't quite get hold of it completely. Verity up in a challenge with Muller. And Hayes is the one that deals with it in the end. Joyce. Lundy does well to keep it in, but can't quite get it on target. Looking for Ferguson going forward. Cooper now under pressure from Friendo. Lays it off. Rutledge. Ferguson running about with some intent. Tries to park himself to block the passes. Cooper's dropping back and distributing. Now Green going forward. Clumsy there, and Bradbury complaining about what happened, but comes away without the ball, and the referee has no sympathy. Cooper blocks the pass. Olympic pushing numbers forward. Walsh here. Muller looking for a teammate. Swings it wide. Green chests it down. No options present. He drops it back to Rutledge. Time ticking away here. Muller's been busy, all of a sudden getting to all sorts of areas of the pitch to try and distribute. Ball lobbed into the box, headed away. Ferguson found from Hayes. He's happy to drop it back. They know they're in no hurry here, Charlestown. Hoole. McManus puts it forward. Rutledge breaks it up. Zervis. Could he be the spark they need here, Olympic? Lays it off. Hay. Now broken up again. Not cleared. Verity gets up and over. Friendo misses it. Cooper sits back. Lays it out wide for Walsh. Walsh has got lots of time and space. Tries to cross it into the box, but it's dealt with by Elkington, who parries it across the sideline. You can just feel Olympic trying to push up the pressure, trying to turn up the tempo.
Certainly are, and they're getting the ball into wide positions, but I think Charlestown are happy with that.
Cooper headed away somewhat. And of course, the man that steps up to get rid of it is McManus. He's for mine across the almost 90 minutes we've seen so far, been a standout.
Yeah, working really hard, and I think what you're seeing now is that the ball's getting wide for Olympic, but they're just banging it into the box, and I think Charlestown are quite happy with that because they've got the personnel to be able to deal with that first ball and generally the second ball. For me, I think you need to break up the game and try and get Zervis on the ball in that central area, driving at the defence rather than the ball coming from wide positions and them just having to deal with crosses all the time.
Rutledge on the ball now. Yeah, it certainly appears the way. Charlestown looking quite composed. Olympic know that they're getting to the last chance saloon here. Bradbury crosses it into the box dangerously. Verity, the new signing, or one of the many new signings out here, looking the goods as the substitute centre back. This ball sits free in space for a long time before Walsh goes across to collect. Walsh plays it into midfield. There's that man Zervis now. What can he do? Beats one quite easily. That's one of in Jackson Friendo. Now it falls back, and again Verity. He's been solid since he's come on, Nathan Verity at centre back. The change for Pappas. Now Green. Green down the left flank. Rolls it forward. Attempted deflection inside from Hornery. Doesn't quite work out. Lundy heads it forward looking for Ferguson. Now Zervas. Continue on here. The ball comes across the sideline. And it'll be a throw. Duncan in a hurry to take it. Cooper's there. The fourth official says 4 minutes of additional time is what we'll be looking at. Beautiful work by Muller to get himself into the 18-yard box, but McNamara, a little juggle, but that's a bit more dangerous from Jared Muller.
Yeah, combination play a little bit better there from Olympic. They built up down the right-hand side, and those couple of, and then Jared Muller's just come back inside, done the defender, and for me there, I'm not too sure that it's a shot. I think it's more of a cross for somebody else, but he's tried the shot, and McNamara has easily picked it off.
Now they go long, loading up Olympic. Azzurri trying to hang on. Frendo to Frendo. Harry Frendo now, just standing over the ball, happy to chew up time. Takes on Walsh. Ferguson's there, a little tap on for Frendo again. Frendo v Duncan. Duncan gets a little tap in. We're going to have the referee having a chat here. Duncan just adding a little bit of insult to winning the challenge by just striding over Frendo, which is probably only going to inflame the situation. The referee quick to deal with it, and now we go with Green. Now they go wide. Hay has the ball taken away, and it'll be a throw. Olympic waste no time looking for Muller. Muller up against Hull. Hay on the edge of the box, and then almost put into orbit by Kieran Hayes.
Again, they just broke down just at the critical time in and around the box. The 1-2's not really quite coming off and haven't really come off all game.
Bradbury throws himself in at a rate of knots. And he throws himself into that challenge at a rate of knots, and he's going to go into the referee's book for that. That was just clumsy and silly from Carl Bradbury, and as I said, he goes into the book for the second week in a row.
Yeah, just frustration. He gave the ball away and then tried to win it back, but obviously fouled and now finds himself in the referee's notebook. And I think it's synonymous with how Olympic are feeling at the moment. They've never really quite got their passing together, and realistically, they've never really overly troubled the Charlestown back four throughout the second half.
Well, the time is ticking away. Just over 90 seconds of the signalled minimum 4 minutes of added time to be played. What can Olympic do? Can they snatch a last gasp draw here? Nathan Verity, that's not quite where he wanted to deliver that. Joyce under pressure. Hornery. That's just silly. A little bit of fatigue starting to tick in, and Charlestown won't mind. They'll be happy to take their time here, Brett, because they're in absolutely no rush knowing how quickly this time is ticking away.
That's right. They'll just manage the game now, see the extra seconds down, and realistically come away with what they wanted to come away with, which is obviously the 3 points. I think overall, for me, Olympic haven't done enough to try and to get a result. You know, and although Charlestown haven't, they've certainly controlled the second half with the amount of ball they've got into the box, both from set plays and from open play as well in the second half.
There's Ferguson showing all of his experience and gamesmanship here, just playing the ball in, keeping it in, and pushes it across the sideline, and he gets up with a smirk. He knows he's chewed up a few more crucial seconds. Now the referee's getting as frustrated as the players are, I think. Clearly saying it's a throw-in. There's 2 balls on the field. The referee says get on with it. Olympic seeming to slow things down themselves. 2 balls on the field, slowed it further. Joyce just gets a boot in. He's been solid as well. Throw-in for Olympic. We're very much at the referee's discretion now. Body's going in at 100 miles an hour. They'll just keep hacking it forward, will Charlestown. Ferguson doesn't worry about chasing that. He knows he was offside. Pearce, can they go 100 metres here? Very little time left on the clock. Azzurri lead 1-0 away from home, looking for 3 wins on the trot to start season 2025. And Hayes sends it over the sideline. Now well into stoppage time now. The coaching staff of Olympic sent everyone but Pearce forward. They go long into the box from Cooper. Headed away, comes down, falls for Green. He skews it off the outside of the boot. He gets another chance. Comes to the side and then driven in by Hay, but McNamara. And now he's caught in some sort of yoga pose on the ground, trying to use up all the time he can, Ben McNamara. And you have to think that that was last chance saloon, and that might be all she wrote for Newcastle Olympic. And sure enough, the referee raises his hand. Ben McNamara celebrates. Charlestown Azzurri celebrate. 3 wins on the trot to start 2025. It wasn't pretty, Brett, but again, 3 points are 3 points.
That's right, it was effective. So I think they've worked really hard to gain the 3 points, keep the momentum. I just worry moving forward, those 2 injuries, how that's going to impact on them. Certainly the way that I've seen them play today, they're crucial players to the way that Charlestown play. You know, they do tend to play from set pieces, long throws and corner kicks. And those 2 that have picked up early injuries in the first half could be crucial if they're longer term injuries. But the people that came in, they did admirably well. They stuck to the guns. For me, I think Olympic played a little bit into their hands. I think they could have broken up the game a little bit more by getting the midfielders in front of the back 4 rather than getting round and just knocking the ball into the box, because I think they were more than comfortable with dealing with that, as they showed all game. No matter who was on, defensively, I thought they were very structured and attacked the ball really well and gave no hint, realistically, that they were going to concede in that manner.
We saw there from Olympic, it certainly looked like they had plan A and then they kept going to plan A. It might be they might need to develop plan B if they're going to challenge some of these teams that adjust well to them over the season.
Yeah, like I sort of said, I think that Zervis didn't really get involved enough in the second inning. He maybe